Vikram, I don't mind enabling mics, sir, during classrooms. That is something which we have started way back. But the problem is, most of the people don't follow decorum, and you will be hearing strange noises. And there were instances where yoga videos, yoga audio used to come. Suprabhatam. అంటే అన్ని మతాలకు సంబంధించిన ప్రార్థనలు వినపడేవి. Okay, that is the reason where I decided that I'll not be unmuting anymore, because the problem is me unmuting you will cause more trouble in listening to the classroom recordings. Okay, uh, there was a time where for at least 3 or 4 days we didn't had this go to webinar and we had Zoom. ఓకే, అప్పుడు కొంతమంది బనీను లుంగీల్లో కూర్చొని వీడియోలు కూడా ఆన్ చేశారు. ఆ దెబ్బకి జూమ్ వాడటం మానేశాను, because Zoom enables everyone to on their video. So we wanted little bit in a professional manner, sir. So if you have any questions to ask, there is a questions forum. You can just type your question over there. If there is anything necessary, I'll unmute you. Let us go on this on a needy basis rather than really democratizing. Okay, is that fine, sir? Yeah, right. Yeah, I know that I'm extremely late. Yeah, but yesterday I worked for at least how many hours? Six plus. There was approximately 11 hours of classes yesterday, so I couldn't wake up on time. Yeah, that's the reason why I couldn't come over here. Okay, right, sir. Yeah. Fine, sir. So let us get started. You have any questions, you can ask me then and there itself. Even if you need doubts post class listening to the videos or whatever it is, there is a Telegram channel which you have enrolled to. Post a question over there. Someone will try to address. If not immediately, at least by the next day, you should get an answer. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, previous classes were lost in our direct DevOps.blog, but actually they're not lost. So if you go into this DevOps classroom notes, after some time it has become empty. So today I need to do something to fix it. Yeah, right, sir. I'll try to look into what I can do for this, because actually the problem was we have designers, right? Web designers. Okay, so జంబలకడి పంపు సినిమా చూసారు మీరు? ఈ నన్ను హిందీలో తిడుతున్నారు సార్ అంట. ఏమని తిడుతున్నాడు అంటే ఎదురాయి అని తిడుతున్నాడు. ఏమని తిట్టేవరా అంటే ఎదురాయి అనే తిట్టారంటాడు. అరే నీకు హిందీ అంత బాగొచ్చా? అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఇక్కడికి రావడానికి ఏమంటారు అంటే అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఎదురాయి అంటారు. ఓకే, so there are people who are very much accompanied to using unnecessary plugins. So I'm not sure how many of you have observed from yesterday our site is responding very fast. మీకు అంటే చూసేవాళ్ళు తెలుస్తుంది, చూడకపోతే గొడవ లేదనుకోండి. యా, సో the reason was there were a lot of unnecessary plugins that were installed for convenience which were not required. And me uninstalling those plugins have taken this classroom notes away, because they installed too many unnecessary plugins. I use WordPress to manage all of this, and there are things which can be done, but yeah, people are accompanied of habit, right? Yes. Yeah, ante. So I need to fix this stuff, so I'll be doing that today. Yeah, but the whole idea is అంటే మనకి అలవాటు అయిపోయి అలాగే చేయాలి, right? Okay, fine, sir. So let us get started. Yeah, let us look into yesterday's stuff, what we have discussed. Yeah. Oh, ఒక్క నిమిషం. Yeah. Right. Fine. So yesterday we have tried to understand the concept of operating systems and what is the importance of processes. And anything that you run on an operating system is basically executed as a process. And each process will get some amount of CPU, some RAM to basically execute. This was the discussion which we had yesterday. Okay, right. Now, then we have started looking at some problem solving. I'll come to the problem solving, but we will try to learn about one concept first, and then from there we will try to take it forward to solving some of the other problems. Okay, sir. So, initially in the very early days, most of our applications were a single system applications. So we used to have very large server which we used to call as mainframes, and people used to connect to that, and applications were run on that, and people used to use that because the usage was very much limited. Okay. Now, the basic idea over here is, let us try to understand how these processes work. Okay. Okay. So let me take a laptop, and in this laptop, let us assume that I have run one application. So this is the process of that application, and for convenience, let us understand that this is calculator. Okay. So this process will get some CPU, which will be fluctuating. Okay, some amount of RAM, minimum amount of RAM. As you use your application, if there are anything that is necessary, any extra RAM is necessary, any extra CPU is necessary, these process request your operating system saying that, okay, I need little bit of more CPU. Okay, that's the reason basically the things fluctuate. Okay, sometimes when you are doing antivirus scanning on your system, the rest of the applications become extremely slow because your CPU is given more, or your process is given more CPU or whatever it is. And then the RAM that is given, or the memory area that is given to this process, okay, cannot be accessed by the other process. So as I said, every process will have a process ID. Let me try to call it as process ID 1001, and let me call this as process ID 1002. Let it be same process, or let it be some other process. Let it be something like Word. Each of the process will get its own RAM, and then there is no way that this process can basically get the data from you. Okay, am I clear on this, sir? Yeah. ఒక ప్రాసెస్ ఇంకో ప్రాసెస్ లో ఉన్న మెమరీని యాక్సెస్ చేసే అవకాశమే లేదు. నో సిస్టమ్స్ బేసికలీ అలౌ దిస్. ఓకే, సో దెన్ హౌ టు సాల్వ్ ద ప్రాబ్లం? సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాబ్లం టు బి సాల్వ్? ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్, రైట్, let us assume that, okay, so this is basically my the loan calculator application. Okay, so here we basically calculate loans. Okay, so this is the loan application. Okay, here employee or whoever wants is basically applying for loan. I am speaking about a single system. So let us not, we are not speaking about internet era. Chala path రోజుల్లో మాట్లాడు. Okay, so now on the loan calculator, I have done the EMI calculation, and then I said that this is what it is. But how can I bring in the data into this application? Probably I might need that data. The only option is user has to copy paste. Okay, but that is not a good idea, right? So probably, is there any other way to figure it out? So then the only way to figure it out is, or initially what we have is, we have something called as IPC, inter-process communication protocols. Okay, so initially we were trying to look at applications where the applications have to speak with each other. Okay, so this gave birth to something which is called as IPC. Okay, and then this was later on Okay, so change to something called as remoting. Okay, the basic idea of remoting is IPC basically speaks about running both the processes in the same application. Remoting will work even if they are running on two different applications. Okay, so communication between applications has become a priority. So a lot of the people, what they used to do is, okay, let us not do all of that. Let us try doing this. Let me basically have a database. Whenever I calculate the loan, I try to store those results in the database. Let this application also start using the same. This is the easier way of solving the problem. Okay, but if the data is not persisted, it is not required to be stored, then the only way for us to solve this is, okay, using technologies like IPC or remoting. Okay, but the problem is they are limited. Your voice is not audible. Adbhutam. Am I audible to the people of the web? Okay. Right. So, right. Let me open this Perplexity AI. So, what is inter process communication and how it can be implemented? A very old technology. Okay. So, are you saying names, pipes? In the Windows world, this is very popular. We use something called as named pipes. And then in the Linux world, people use sockets. I'm quite sure that some of you might have seen an error in Docker which says that unable, you don't have permission on Unix or something dot socket. Yeah, because their client process is basically trying to communicate with the server process using inter-process communication. The rest of the things are little bit okay. Okay. Shared memory is very often restrictive. And then as I said, when you want to communicate, then these are the options which you have. Okay. Right. Till that moment, there was no need of any communication. We used to build one big application, everything runs inside that. So you use that application, it gives you results. But when you want to bring different applications which speak with each other, then we need to have these kind of technologies. Okay. Right, sir? Why is this technology important? Because a process will never allow any other process to access its memory. Okay. Clear on this? Yeah. Right. So this is a single system problem. Now, when I scale it to multiple systems, this discussion will lead us to something called as web servers and APIs. ఈ ప్రాబ్లమ్ ని కొంచెం పెద్దగా చేసి, if I try to add multi-system environment in that, that is where the birth of something called as web services started, web applications started, where we are trying to build applications which run on different systems and still communicate with each other. But for that, this is the first step. Am I clear on this, sir? Yeah. So, right. All right. Two applications running in different cannot access each other's data, because why? It's stored in private memory. Each process gets its private memory. So to enable this communication, we have IPC technologies. Okay. So I'm basically trying to write only two things over here because rest of the things are modern in nature. Okay. The first one is you can basically try to speak about something called as named pipe, popular in the Windows world. And then there is something called as Unix sockets. అసలు ఈ గొడవ అంతా ఈ దరిద్రం అంతా ఎందుకు అనుకుంటే you can use a file. So whenever a process basically creates a data, it stores it in a file or a database, and the other application will try to add it. Again, the problem with file is two processes cannot write at the same time. Okay, just like how uh, two users cannot give a printout at the same time, there will be some kind of a queue, right? So file is a resource where only one process can get an access on, right? So for example, if you are in a shared folder and if someone opens an Excel document, when other tries to open, you will immediately see an error saying that someone is using it. I will be opening this in a read-only mode. Yeah, because files cannot be written parallelly. You have to only one process can do it at any point of time. Okay. So are we clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay. So process and need for IPC. We will not be using IPCs. We have evolved a lot. Okay. I'm still speaking about a little bit of older technology. Somewhere around we are in 2000s. Okay, early 2000s. Okay, right. Then the next thing that has happened is, okay, need for communication between applications on different machines, okay, was introduced. So when I'm speaking about different machines, I'm speaking about web. Okay, so server will be somewhere else, client will be somewhere else. So I'm accessing something like Microsoft.com. So Microsoft.com and browser are not on the same machine, they are on a different machine. Till this point, two applications running on same machine. So this discussion will lead us towards something called as RPCs. Okay, so RPC is a very old technology. Yeah, all right. And then web, or to be very specific, I need to start speaking about HTTP has started. Okay, and then just web applications were not enough, or websites were not enough. We had to build something called as web APIs. So when we speak about web APIs here, REST API is important. Okay, so prapancham ikkada agala. So then they said that okay, REST API is kind of becoming boring. Let us use something called as GraphQL, graph query language. Okay, before this there is one more thing that has happened. There is something which is called as web sockets were introduced. Okay, the latest thing around this world are gRPC. So whatever RPC which we had, Google has basically come up with a Google RPC, which is very popular, efficient, but still around 90% of the application which you will be doing will be around this area. Yeah, but still that doesn't mean that others don't exist. ఇవన్నీ నేర్చుకోవాలి. కాకపోతే let us not try to learn all of them at one shot. Let us try to understand one problem and then try to basically go to the next level. But are we clear on IPC? So will IPC work on two processes running on two different machines? IPC boundary is only single system. Okay, IPC concept cannot scale across machines. That's the reason why it is called as inter-process communication, because it runs inside the same machine. If you want to take it to the next level, then there is something called as RPC. Okay, right? So what is RPC? What are those other next steps? We will try to understand about it. Are you clear on this, sir? So is this concept clear? Yes. Okay. All right. So let us continue our logic building journey. So yeah, fine then. Okay, right. So yesterday we have find the total of number plate. We have made Flora do that, and we have also made Flora figure out if the what do you call if the number is palindrome or not, because you have reversed the number and cross check whether it is matching or not. Okay, so today we will try to find if the number is, or find all the factors of the number. Okay, so don't try to write one and itself. So because for any number, if I take 100, 1 is also a factor, 100 is also a factor, but I am not interested in those two things. Apart from that, whatever is a factor of it. Okay, so now let us assume that I am speaking about 15. Okay, if I try to take 15, 3 is a factor of 15 and 5 is a factor of 15. Let me try to take about 60. So 2, 3, 4, 4 కూడా అవుతుంది కదా, 5, 6, 8 is not a factor, 9, 10, 12, okay, and 15. After that 20, after that 30. Okay, so I want Flora to do this stuff. Okay, again, what does Flora know? Flora knows addition, subtractions, multiplications. It can do comparisons and all of that stuff. So shall we get started? Yeah. So how do I solve this problem then? What is it I need to do? మీకైతే తెలివితేటలు ఉన్నాయి, డైరెక్ట్ చూసి చెప్పారు. ఫ్లోరాకి అన్ని తెలివితేటలు లేవు. How can we find out factors? What is the definition of factor, sir? Factor అంటే ఏంటి? 2 is 3 is a factor of 15 because it is divisible by 15. What do we mean by divisible by 15? Absolutely. When you divide a number, we will get a remainder 0. If it is not divisible, we will not be getting a remainder 0. Okay. So now you just tell me, can I do this or not? Instructions. So I'll be going with numbers as usual. Hello? Okay. Right. So what is the number which I need to start with? So let me try to take the example. Remember 15 as number, or from today onwards I'll be replacing the statement with number is equals to 15. This means remember 15 as number. Okay, so then what is it I need to check? I need to check, I need to start from 2, right? So I'm not considering 1, I'm not considering itself. So now if, okay, right, or we can do this, calculate number percentage 2. Okay, so remainder is equals to number percentage 2, and then if remainder is equals to 0, say 2, because 2 is a factor. Okay, right. So then 5, I have checked with 2. So then what is the next number which I have to check with? And then but is it making sense? So then after that I'll copy the 2 lines where I'll try to write 4. Okay, so to be very specific, I am basically, if you try to look into these statements, okay, or let me do this. మొత్తానికి ఆపేసినట్టున్నారు వీళ్ళు నన్ను యూజ్ చేద్దాం. ఓకే, okay, leave it. If it doesn't work out in that way, there are other ways also, right? Fine, sir. So let me open this notepad. I have these lines. Okay, let me try to have a line over here. So what is the difference between these two things? On the left hand side I have used number 2. On the right hand side I have used number 3. If I continue this program, I'll be only changing, in the place of 2 I have written 3. In the place of 3 I have written, I'll be writing 4. So do you agree that there is no need for me to do that, but I can basically use the same statements? Yeah. So for that reason, what I'll try to do is, I'll try to write something like index is equals to 2, and remainder is equals to number percent index. If remainder is equals to 0, say index, and after that I'll be trying to tell that, okay, now what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to increment index. You have tried 2, so now try for +1. Okay, but if index is greater than or sorry, if index is less than or equals to number. Okay, so for example, I have tried, let us assume that I'm trying to find the index of 3. Okay, I will try with 2. Okay, 2 is not a factor of 3. What is the next number which it will come to? 3. So I should not be checking this program for 1 and 3, right? So that's the reason why I'm trying to tell that if index is less than number, okay, then go to line number 4. Okay, so let us try to understand what I have done by applying substitution methods. So this is something which we have learned yesterday. Yeah, so let me paste it. We'll start executing the program. So what is there in the number? First line, no number. Second line, after we execute, we will have 15. Third line, after we execute, we have a memory where we will have index, and index will have 2. Now we are basically calculating number percentage index in line number 4. So 15 when divided with 2, what will be the remainder? బాబాయ్ 2 ఏళ్ళు 14 ఒకటి మిగులుతండి. So whenever you divide it with 2, there are only 2 possibilities, 0 or 1. Yeah, fine, sir. So is the remainder equivalent to 0? No. So it will come to this line. So now index has become 3. So is 3, okay, less than 15? Yes. So it is going to line number 4. So 15 when you divide it by 3, we will get a remainder of 0. Since remainder is 0, now Flora has said that 3 is a factor. It has printed 3. Then it comes, index now becomes 4. Okay, so 4 when you divide it by 15, so what is the remainder which you get? 4 3s are 12, and we are left with 3. Okay, so remainder is not equivalent to 0, then it comes over here and index becomes 5. So is 5 less than index? Yes. So it will go to line number 4 again. Now remainder will become 15. When you divide it by 5, you will have a remainder of 0. Good. Is remainder 0? Yeah. It has already said 3. Now it is trying to tell 5. So then it will try, we will try for 6. 6, when it tries with remainder, we will not get 0. Then it tries with 7. Then we try with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So now the moment index is less than this, the program will not go anymore and it will end at 8 by or something like exit stuff. Yes. Okay. So is this in sync with what we have done yesterday? But yesterday we didn't have an index. Today there is a need for index. Am I clear on this? Yeah. Okay. Right. So you can try this for 60 also. Let me try to tell that. First hello, last lo bye pedam. Yeah. Right. Because that bye will help us in helps us in understanding the concept of return values and exit codes. Yeah. Okay. Fine, sir. Did you understood this? Yeah. Okay. Now, okay. Find if the number is prime or not. Okay. So is 3 a prime number, sir? Okay. Samples. So if I enter 7, you should give me an output which is called as prime number. If I give you 9, you should give me an output saying that not a prime number. So what is the definition of a prime number? A number which is not divisible by any other number other than 1 and itself. Do you agree with me on this? Yes? Okay. So shall I write the program, sir? సిగ్గుగా ఏమనిపించలేదా? ఒకటి మీరు రాశారు కదండి, ఒకటి నేను చేస్తానని అడగరా? Yeah. So this is something which I want you to guys try because I have solved the problem already. Yeah. So what is prime number, sir? If you have doubts, you can ask this. What is prime number? ఖచ్చితంగా అందరూ తెలుసనే అనుకుంటున్నాను. Okay. A prime number is a number which is not divisible by any other number apart from 1 and itself. Okay. Right. So try solving this. People on the web, are we trying it, sir? Yeah. And again, if you have any doubts, you can just basically just type the question, sir. That's it. I don't need programs. I need instructions. I need something in this lines. Okay. So direct గా ప్రైమ్ నెంబర్ కోడ్ తీసుకొచ్చి ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చేస్తే నాకు ఉపయోగం లేదు దానివల్ల. I want you to think in this direction. Yeah. So what is that you need to do? So you need to find out that a number doesn't have any factors. We have already tried how to see whether what are the factors. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be waiting for 5 minutes, sir. Give it a try. ఎవరైతే చేయకుండా చూస్తున్నారో మీరు జిమ్కి జాయిన్ అయ్యి డబ్బులు కట్టి ఇన్స్ట్రక్టర్ ఎక్సర్సైజ్ చేస్తుంటే చూస్తే మీ కండలు వచ్చే అవకాశం ఉందా? ఇప్పుడు మీరు చూస్తా కూర్చుంటే ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ వచ్చే అవకాశం కూడా అంతే ఉంది. Right? For the people who are not trying, if you join a gym, daily, regularly go to the gym and watch the instructor. Is there any chance that you will build or build your muscle? You have the same probability of this of learning programming also if you don't try. It's okay to make mistakes. You might have gone extremely wrong. That's okay. That is the first step. But don't hesitate from attempting. Okay, sir. How many of you have tried it? And మిగతా వాళ్ళు ట్రై కూడా చేయలేదా? I have asked try, not solved. Okay, sir. Let us just try to look into this. Okay. So remember, let me try to 7 as number. Okay. Or I said that I'll not be writing this anymore. Number equals to 7. Index is equals to 2. Okay. Now, remainder is equals to number percentage index. If remainder is equals to 0, I'll try to basically speak about what has to be done in this case. Index is equals to index plus 1, because after 2 I have to check for 3. 7. Okay. If index is less than number, then go to line number 4. Any problem with this? Okay. Say prime and 9 by. So if remainder is equals to 0, I will try to tell that say not prime. So this will be 5.1 for me, and then 5.2 go to line number 9. Okay, let me tell you an example to easily understand this. Let me replace this 7 with 8. So first what would happen? First line will execute. Second line, here we have number is equals to 8, and now line number 3, index is equals to, and then I got remainder 8 when divided by 2 gives me a remainder of 0. So is it a prime anymore? So that's the reason I'm trying to that it is not a prime, and I'm going to the line number 9 and I'm exiting the program. Okay. But if I try with 7, so it will go with number is equals to 7. So 7 when divided with 2 will have a remainder of 1. So remainder is not 1. So index becomes 3. 7 when divided by 3 again will have a remainder of 1. So which is not the case. Then 4. 4 also will not be 0. It will become 5. 5 also is not 0. 6. 6 also is not 0. And then index will become 7. Since it is 7, it will come here. Then we are trying to tell on a line number 8 that it is a prime number. Okay. And then finally, bye. Are we clear on this, sir? So we have done actually the same problem over here, but we have slightly tweaked it. Here we were printing factors. There we are not printing factor. If we find a factor, then we are trying to tell that it is not a prime number. Okay. So are we clear on this, sir? So quickly what I'll do is, what was it? Programs, right? Yeah. Okay. So again, this I'm trying to show you to basically understand what we have written and how to convert that into programming language. I have not started Python, neither I have started Java. Okay. So number is equals to 7, index is equals to 2, while index is less than number. Okay. Right. So here if or remainder is equals to number percentage index. If remainder is equals to 0, okay, so then I'm trying to tell that print, okay, number is not prime, and then I'm exiting the program. So if that is not the case, I'm trying to tell index is equals to index plus 1, and then finally I'll try to print number is prime. Okay, so shall we execute this? Python main dot py, 7 is prime. Let me give 9 here. 9 is not prime. Oh, fine. I can do one more thing. దీన్ని ఇంకొంచెం బెటర్గా చెక్ చేద్దాం. ఈజ్ ప్రైమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు false. Oh, sorry, is equals to true. By default, I'm assuming that the number is prime, and then I'll try to tell that is prime is equals to false, and then don't worry about the syntaxes. Okay, if ఇప్పుడు చూడండి. Okay, let me change it to, sorry, 7. Did we solve the problem? Yeah. Don't worry about this stuff which I have written. Yeah, right. Okay, good. Now if I have to do the same thing in Java, it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. So int number is equals to 7, int index is equals to 2, or for int index is equals to 2, index less than number index plus plus, if number percentage index is equals to 0, that means remainder is equals to 0, then it is no longer a factor, right? So system dot out dot println not prime. Okay, I can't use return, so let me try to use this boolean is prime is equals to false, and then I'll be trying to write break, and finally if is prime, system dot out dot println prime number. Don't worry about the syntactical conversions, but actually if you try to look at the assumption, I'm doing the same thing. Yeah, right. So Java C, what was this? Hello.java, hello.java, and Java. When I pass 7, is it giving prime? Now let me make it 9. It should not give, it should give not prime. So Vachinda? So you, as I said, once you know the logic, converting that into any language doesn't matter. Yeah. Fine, sir. So are we clear on this? Yeah. So now at this moment, let us start project Euler's problem number 1, and then after that we'll go for a break, and then we'll continue this discussion. Okay, right, sir. So okay, so what is it trying to tell? Below number 3, multiples of 3 or 5 are 3, 5, 6 and 9, and if you calculate the sum of all of them, they are 23, and he wants it for 1000. Okay, if you do it for 10, all you have to do is change the maximum number to maximum number to 1000. That's it. Okay, so for example, can't I use the same statement which I have written when the number is 700? Yes, if your program works for 10, it will work for 10,000 also. Yeah, let us start with 10 and then let us try to apply that stuff. Instructions. So first thing, what is the result which I want? Sum of numbers. That is my result. So fine, sum is equals to 0. Initially I'm basically assigning a memory for this, storing the sum. If you don't want to call it as sum, call it as result, whatever it is, or output. That makes sense to you. Then I need to start all the natural numbers which are multiples of 3 or 5. So for that I need a index. Index I'll start from 2. Okay, now then maximum number is 10. Okay, so because if he has counting only till 9, 10 ante 9 varaku count chestunnadu. Okay, if you have counted till 10, then you would have also got 10 here, 3, 6, 5, 9 or 10. Ante kada, because 5 is divisible, 10, 5 is 10 is divisible by 5. Okay, right. Now, right. So now what is it I need to do? I need to basically cross check whether a number it is divisible by 3 or 5. So now is divisible is equals to, okay, what is the current number? Index percentage 3, if it is equal to 0. Okay, from now onwards I'll be using a little bit of parenthesis, or index percentage 5 is equals to, antena? So for example, if I try to take 2, is 2 divisible by 3? No. Is 5 divisible by 3? No. False or false will give you false only. So in this, what we will have? We will have false. So then, if is divisible is true or equivalent to true, whatever you call it, okay, equal to true, then what I'll be trying to do is, I'll be trying to tell sum is equals to sum plus index. Okay, now index is equals to index plus 1, because after 2 it has to try for 3. Okay, if index is less than max, then go to line, antena, and then finally in the line number 9 say sum or result annam kada. So here I should be using result. Say result. Any problem in here? Konjam confusing unda? So whenever you find anything confusing, the easiest way is take this, copy over here, and start executing line by line. I execute line number 1, fine. When I execute line number 2, what would happen? We will get a memory allocated for result, and the value of result is 0. And then when I execute line number 3, I get value allocated. Okay. Hello, because so I am executing line number 2. So I have memory location which is result is equals to 0. Now I executed line number 3. So then I'll have index which has a value called as 2. So then the third memory I have allocated, I have an index which is called as 10. Now index percentage 3. 2 percentage 3 is not equivalent to 0. So this is false. 2 percentage 5 is also not equivalent to 0. False. False or false is what? False. So is underscore divisible is equals to what is that we have? False. Now we are trying to tell is divisible equivalent to true now? No, it is not. It is false. So it will come over here. Now index has to be added by 1. So which is 3. So then we have to go for line number 5. So 3 divisible by 3, it gives a remainder of 0. Is that true? Yes. So here we have true. True or false is what? True or false is true. If any one of them is true, or becomes true. Yeah, fine. So let us assume I'm true or false statements. Let me ask it like this. So do you have a passport or voter ID? If you have even one of them, the statement is true, right? That is what I'm trying to evaluate. Do you have passport and voter ID? If you don't have a passport, it will become false. You should have both of them. Here, at least one of them. Yeah. So now in this case, is divisible has become true. So now what is the index value? 3. So result is equals to result plus index. So right now in result I have 0. Now it becomes 3. Then index becomes 4. 4 is not divisible by 3, neither by 5. So it is false. Then it comes index becomes 5. So once it becomes 5, index percentage 5 is equal to 0. That is, we have at least one of them as true. So when it is true, then what is it? Result is equals to result plus index. So 3 plus 5 will give me 8. Now index becomes 6. Is 6 divisible by 3? Yes. So now since 6 is divisible by 3, then result will become 8 plus 16, 6, which is 14. Now it will become 7. 7 is not divisible by any of them. And then 8. 8 is not divisible by any one of them. Then 9. 9 is divisible by 3. So 14 plus 9, which will give you. Now all you have to do to make this program work for 1000 days, change this value to. Are we clear on this? Okay. Do we have any difficulty? And even if you have done some logical error, only by the substitution process you will be able to work it out. Am I clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay. Right. Quickly we'll write a program and then we'll go out for a break. So now let us try to look into what was our syntax. So I've written result is equals to 0. Index is equals to 2. And what is the other thing? Yeah. Max is equals to 10. Now if index percentage 3 is equivalent to 0 or index percentage 5 is equivalent to 0, then result is equals to result plus index. But this does only one time. I have to do this activity while index is less than max. Now index is equals to index plus 1. Okay, sir. Fine then. Now print sum is equals to result. Antena? Okay, what is the problem here? Okay, this is fine. Now let me try to write Python. Did we got 23 as a sum? Now all I have to do is change this to 1000 and rerun the program. So if it works for one number, it works for other numbers. That's an advantage of programs. Are we clear on this, sir? Yeah. So I can do the same thing in Java also, but in Java when I do it, probably I need to add int here, int here, int here, colon at the end. Okay. The way I write if condition might be different. So that is something which we will try to basically do. And in the case of Java, you can't write or as this. You have to use this double pipe. Those are all syntactical constraints. Okay. Right. So are we clear on this, sir? So do you think this is important now? Yes. Because if you are unable to do this, it doesn't matter how many syntaxes you know, you can't write programs. If you know this, all you have to do is figure out syntaxes. Okay. Clear? Good. So let us go for a break for 10 minutes, come back and start basically looking at setting up our systems. Okay. And taking our first steps into Python. Taking our first steps into Python. Okay. Right. So Am I audible over the web? Right, sir. So this is a brand new Windows 11 system. Yeah, in this there are no softwares that are installed. I will try to set up Python in this, and you need to set up in the same way. And for the people who are using Mac, I'll try to tell you the instructions on that also. Okay, but first let us try to do this. The first thing which I want all of you to configure on your system is terminal. So just open terminal on your Windows system. Yeah. So this is there is nothing which you need to do now. This recording will be given. Just look into this recording and set up your system. Okay. Right. So you will have this Windows terminal, and we will be using this Windows terminal for oh, ఆగండి నేను అదే ఎంత అందంగా ఎలా వచ్చేసింది అనుకుంటున్నాను. Right. So if you try to open terminal on your system, first time it will ask you to open settings. Just click on open settings. Even if you don't do this, there is no harm. But if you try to see what is the default terminal application, Windows console host, change it to Windows terminal. So the basic reason why we use Windows terminal is it is like Google Chrome, where if you want to browse multiple pages, we can add tabs, right? Yeah. So when we learn DevOps, when we do Python, we might need multiple command line windows to be opened. So this is the easier way to do it. Okay. For the people who are using Mac, in the Mac, you will have terminal. When you use Spotlight search, something like controls, command space. Okay. So you will be basically getting this view, something like this. It looks like the Spotlight search center, Mac. So if you are using Mac and if you type terminal inside that, you will directly get a terminal, and terminal supports a tabbed view in Mac. So Mac users need not do anything special for this. Okay. Right. And then let me close terminal. The first software which you are supposed to install is come on. Yeah. I generally prefer dark themes. Okay. So just type Git for Windows. Let me finish all of this Windows, and then I'll speak about Mac. Yeah. So Git for Windows, go over here, and then you will be seeing this. Download this tool. And then click on open file. Click on next, next, and remember this page. And are you seeing new add a git bash profile to Windows terminal? So I want to open Windows in Windows terminal. I want to open git bash. Okay, bash is a Linux like shell, or a Linux shell is it was actually created for Unix, where we used to have Bourne shell, and then they have later on they have made some changes for Linux. That's the reason it is called as bash. Bash stands for Bourne again shell. Okay. So let me go with next, and later on you don't need not do anything. Just click on next till it says finished. I'm not going to give any links. Go and Google Git for Windows. Okay. Because the most easiest thing in our entire journey is installing softwares. Okay. Fine, sir. Finish it. Okay. Right. And general, now what is that I have done? I have to install the software. I have gone into Windows or browser and downloaded the software and double clicked it. So this is one way of installing software. There is one more way of installing softwares. I'm not doing it on VMware, sir, but this is the Azure virtual machine. Okay, right. So now, but you need not do an Azure. నా దగ్గర కొత్త ల్యాప్టాప్ లేక నేను ఈ ప్రయత్నం చేస్తున్నా. Since I don't have a brand new Windows 11, I've created a Windows 11 virtual machine. Okay, you need to do it on your laptop. Whatever I'm showing you here is for your laptop. Okay, so from this moment onwards, when I want to install softwares, there are two ways which I can take. One is download, double click, or the other way is there is a command line way to install softwares. So for that, what we'll be trying to do is I'll be trying to basically go with Chocolatey. This is something which you need to do on your Windows system. Click on here, scroll down. Okay, this is Chocolatey, install. And then if you scroll down, you would see this command. Are you seeing? All you have to do is copy this command and then launch terminal and run as administrator. Okay, because for installing softwares, you need to be an admin. Okay, now just right click whatever you have copied. So copy just paste cheyalante right click chese saripotundi. Now you click on enter. So here we are installing a tool which can install softwares from command line from now onwards. That software is something which is called as Chocolatey. This concept is called as package management. Yeah, right. Now you just close the terminal and relaunch the terminal. Generally, I prefer using terminal a lot. That's the reason I pinned to the taskbar. Okay. So from taskbar, if you try to press the shift button and right click. Oh, it is not fine. Run as administrator. Okay. The first software which I want to install is Visual Studio Code. Okay. So go over here, navigate to Google search engine, and over here just type Choco and then whatever software which you want to install. Okay, so I want to install Visual Studio Code. So then if you try to look into this, it says that the command is Choco install VS Code. So let me copy that, paste it over here, and then just add -y. -y means it will not ask for confirmation again. You are directly trying to that I am okay giving you confirmation. If you don't give this confirmation, right, when you are installing this, it will ask. Okay, are you saying it is asking, do you want to run the script, yes or no? Okay, if you don't want it to ask, pass -y. Once you have installed the software from Chocolatey, if you want to uninstall, the command for installing the software is Choco install. The command from removing the software is Choco uninstall. So managing softwares on your system becomes extremely easier with this. Okay. Right. So the softwares which I'll be installing is, I'll be installing first is Choco. Okay. And then obviously before Choco we have installed Git. And then I'll be installing Visual Studio Code. So then I'll be installing Python. Okay. And then we will be setting up Visual Studio Code. Okay, for Python environment. And for this, we will also be setting something called as Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebooks makes it easier for us to run or write small lines of code and see what is happening over there. Okay, so this is going to be our stuff. So if you try to see, is the Visual Studio Code installed? Yeah. Now let us assume that I want to install Google Chrome. So what should I do? Choco Google Chrome, Any software. It is not only the softwares which we are learning. Okay. So copy this, go over here, paste it, add -y. Sokinga leda idi? Yeah, because there is no need for you to double click next. Okay. Continue clicking next till it says finished. I prefer this approach for installing softwares. Yeah. I don't need Google Chrome. I've just shown you as an example. Yeah. Once you have once that tries to tell that I have finished the software installations. Yeah. So if you try to see Google Chrome is installed on your system. Any software which you want, you can handle from this. Okay. So then the next software which I want is Python. So Choco, Python. So you can install any latest version of Python, but don't go with RC ones and all that stuff. Let us install Python 3.12.0. Okay. Just copy this command. Okay. Or we can go to this website, python.org. Let us try to see what is the latest version of Python which is available. 3.12.5. So we are on the same lines. So 3.12 is what is released. So go over here and then execute this command and then add -y2. So 3.12.5 అన్నాడుగా చూద్దాం ఇది పని చేద్దా లేదా. సో ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ లైక్ దిస్ ఆప్షన్, నాకు డబల్ క్లిక్ చేసి డౌన్లోడ్ చేస్తే కానీ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసినట్టు ఉండదు, డౌన్లోడ్ చేసి డబల్ క్లిక్ చేస్తే అంటే అలా కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు. యా, సో ఆల్ యూ నీడ్ డు ఇస్ రాదర్ దెన్ యూజింగ్ చాక్లెట్ జస్ట్ టైప్ దట్ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ వర్షన్ అండ్ దెన్ యాడ్ డౌన్లోడ్. You will get exe installables and then try to double click on that. Yeah. So right now it says it has installed it. Now close the terminal and relaunch terminal as an administrator, and then let me execute python -hyphen version. So do you have Python 3.12.5? So that means that the Python is installed for on your system. And one thing which you need to understand is Microsoft has two editors. One is Visual Studio Code. This is free for everyone. There is one more thing which is called as Visual Studio. Visual Studio is primarily used for .NET development. Okay, we don't want Visual Studio. We want Visual Studio Code. Yeah, right. Now, generally in Visual Studio Code, the advantage of Visual Studio Code is using this, you can basically try to work on almost any programming language. Okay, if you try to see it, I'm writing my classroom notes in this. Avuna? So every day I'm writing my classroom notes as part of Visual Studio Code. So this is basically an editor which is used to literally develop anything. So throughout this DevOps course, throughout this cloud course, okay, or any course of mine, whenever I'm trying to write anything, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. Okay, so by default, when you open Visual Studio Code, right? So it is asking, do you want to change the themes and all of that stuff? So if you want to make it nachakapothe, if you can basically select any of this. I basically like dark themes, so I'll be using dark. But లేదు నాకు ఇవి కావాలంటే you can go for other things, and if you want, there are many other color options which are available. Okay, right, sir. So once you install your
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an attendee in listen-only mode.
Open your terminal on the Mac, use Spotlight search and open terminal, and in that copy this command and paste it. So then Homebrew will be installed. Okay. So after you have Homebrew, I think if you have installed Xcode, you should already have Git. But if it is not Git, install Git. So to install Git, all you need to do is basically go over here and search for Git. So what is the command? Brew install Git -y. And what is the other software which I have asked for? Visual Studio Code. So let me go over here and search for Visual Studio Code. So for that, the command is this. Ante. Right? And here also, okay. First thing is, other thing which you have done is enable auto save. Now launch Visual Studio Code and install Python extension. Okay, you need to install Python also. Right. So, okay, Python 3. Okay, let me try to search over here. Homebrew. Python 3.12. Yeah. Yes. So in the world of Windows, we were checking Choco in Google. In the world of Mac, you will be checking Brew. If you are using Ubuntu or Debian based systems, you will be doing the same thing by searching for something called as apt. If you are working on Red Hat based systems, you will be using DNF. So all of these are package managers. Am I clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay. Right. Fine. And one more thing is, if you try to see my system, nakevo icon latunai. Okay. కొత్తగా ఇన్స్టాల్ చేసిన విజువల్ స్టూడియో కోడ్ లో ఈ ఐకాన్లు ఏం కనబట్ల. సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ main.py ఇదేదో అసైన్ అనిపిస్తుంది. ఓకే. సో దీనివల్ల నష్టం ఏమీ లేదు. ఓకే. So some of the people have asked me this question, sir, in your system you have colorful icons. Yeah, you can also get this colorful icons. All you need to search for is, are you seeing this VS Code icons? Just go and install this. Okay. Now it is trying to tell what is the icons which you want to use. I want to use VS Code icons. Maripenda. And now let me try to create a folder called as GCP. Naku vachin rangulu meeku vatunaya? Right. There is nothing that is. I have just used a different icon rather than the default icon set. Okay. So, are we clear on this? Yeah. But this is the first thing. And now there are certain other things which you need to understand. In Visual Studio Code, whenever you want to change any settings, okay, yet, so all you need to execute is Control-Shift-P. This is called as command palette. Okay. So whenever I'm trying to write the code, okay, let us assume I've written this and then I want to try to tell print of number. Okay. I want to execute this program. And for executing this program, what is it I need to do? Ideally, I need to go into D drive programs, and probably I might need to execute Python. What was it? Main.py. Then I'll get 10. This is how I execute, right? But Visual Studio Code is a developer friendly tool. Everything can be integrated into Visual Studio Code itself. So over here, what I can do is execute Control-Shift-P and then type terminal. And then if you try to see, there will be something called as focus terminal. So you'll get the terminal over here itself. There is no need for you to go. I might go in the classroom because this view will be very small for the people who are watching projectors. For that reason, when I'm using in the classroom, I'll still go to this terminals. Okay. But in reality, when I am working on my systems, I don't go to terminals. I use everything in Visual Studio Code itself. And if one terminal is not enough, you can add all of them. So I think git bash, whatever you see, you will get all of them. So now what is Ripola? Meek nachinanni add chesukondi. So I think I am seeing two PowerShells over here. Yes, you really don't need to get out of this. Okay, and one more thing which you might need is you might need some of the default settings. So if you go with settings over here, and then let us assume that font size. Are you seeing font? So I want to increase the font size and let me make it 18. Okay. Okay. I don't want to change the size, but are you seeing the size has increased? Yeah. So or else if you don't want to do all of this, just go to settings and then search for something called as font. It will try to show you all the options that are available over here. So 18 is not enough for me. I might need 26. Okay. Probably raise it. Yeah. Right. Whatever it is. So you can change all of this. So get used to this Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, there are some commands. So shall we by heart them? Yes. Okay. So if you are getting used to Visual Studio Code, what I would recommend is the first software which I would, the first thing which I would recommend is Visual Studio Code, and then go with cheat sheet. And then if you go with Visual Studio Code cheat sheet over here, you will try to find two cheat sheets, one for Windows, the other one for Mac. So for example, if you want to zoom, or you don't know how to zoom, so just for zoom. So what is it trying to tell? Control plus. Okay. So Visual Studio Code Mac cheat sheet. Okay. For the people who are using Mac, you will get cheat sheet, and then over here, if you want to zoom, you have to use command equals to. Okay. For Mac and Windows, there will be slightly different set of keys. Okay. So try using these things. Yeah. So I'll be giving links to them directly. So Visual Studio Code Mac cheat sheet. You can't learn everything. As you are basically doing certain activities, try to search for shortcuts, because every time finding in file and all other stuff is irritating. Yeah. So if it is for Windows, yeah. So this is, oh, నేను ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చింది Windows ఏనా? Right. Windows cheat sheet for VS Code. Okay. So if it is for Mac, then this is. So for example, when I type REF, I am getting this shortcuts. This is my setting. This is not coming from Visual Studio Code. If you are doing any activities multiple times, what you can do is you can create something called as snippets. You can get the snippets on. Okay. I have basically created some of the snippets. Okay. So I'm saying markdown.snippets. So over here, I've said that whenever I type pre or preview, do this activity. Whenever I have done this, okay. Are we clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay. So now this is the environment which I would basically require. Okay. Now let me try to basically copy one program. You don't need to write a program today. Let us just debug the program. Okay. So let's understand debugging. Okay. And we will try to do debugging in parts, but we will try to do a very small example for this. This is something which we have basically done. What was this? Sum of all numbers. So let me basically open Visual Studio Code, and then I get main.py, and in this I have pasted this. Okay. Now what is debugging? Debugging is executing line by line and understanding what this application is doing. But generally, who executes this program? Python is executing it. So when you are debugging, what you do is you take control from Python and you execute them line by line. Am I clear on this, sir? So when I'm debugging Java code, I'll try to take the control from Java, and I will try to control the execution of this program. Okay. So whenever you want to do this, the first thing which you need to understand is something called as breakpoint. What is it? Breakpoint. So breakpoint basically means that, okay, Python will execute the program, but at what point do you want to take control? Meer control ekkada teesukovalanuntunnaru. So for example, I want to take control from line number 2. So just go to line number 2, and are you seeing this red button which says click to add a breakpoint? Just click on this. Okay. And then, or else the other thing which you can do is, if you try to go with run, there is a shortcut key for that, which is F9. But don't worry about shortcuts. Shortcuts take time. Meer vaartunna koddi shortcuts vastayi gaani day one ravu. So now all you need to do is over here, click over here, and then are you seeing debug Python 5? Just click on this. So are you seeing the control has stopped? Yeah. So the Python is not executing this program. It has stopped executing over, and it has given the control to you. Ippudu control evar daggara undi? Man daggara undi. So now what I can do is, I can click on this. That means stop. Okay. I can click on this, which means restart. So I can try to tell continue. Naaku inka oddule nuvve teesesko, nenu cheyadalchukoledu. So if I click on continue, Python will take over the control and it will print what it is. Okay. So let me make it back to 10, and let me basically go with debug Python 5. Okay. Now execute this line is something which is called as step over. For now you can click on mouse, sir, but ideally there is a shortcut key which is called as F10 in the world of Windows. So whether you enter F10 or whether you basically do over here, that is fine. So right now it is trying to tell that you have a variable which is called as result, because line 1 is already executed by Python, and then you have this. Now let me execute the second line. So at this moment I got index equal to 2. E line execute ayindi, index equal to 2 another allocated. Right. Now we are going over here. Okay. So if you try to see, as you click, the code is moving from one line to other line. So just ensure that this is working in your systems. Am I clear on this, sir? Okay. So if there are any issues in doing this, you can basically try setting it up. So let me try to show you the whole stuff again. Okay. So let me go over here and delete this programs folder. ఈ మొత్తం పని మళ్ళీ చూపిస్తాను. Okay. Yeah. So let me go and delete both of this. So what is it I'm trying to do? I'm trying to create a program which is called as samples, any folder. So let me get into samples, and over here I'm opening this with Visual Studio code dot. So right now I have to write some code. So I'll be trying to create a file, new file, main.py. So in main.py I'm basically using this code. Okay. Sample code for debugging. So you can copy from here in the classroom notes, sir. Okay. మీ classroom notes లో ఈ code share అయి ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని copy paste చేసుకోండి. Now I am doing it over here. Now what is it I need to do? I need to basically tell from which point do I want to take control. So if I want to take control from line 1 itself, go over here and then click on this, and then go over here and then click on debug Python file. And when you debug, you will get a control where you would see something like this, and then this means that execute that line, step over. Okay. So just see whether you are able to execute this. మనకి 1000 అయితే చచ్చిపోతాం కానీ 10 పెడదాం. So if I try to put 1000 here, it takes a lot of time for that. So while debugging, don't use 1000, use 10 itself, because you understand the whole debugging process. Okay. So now let me go over here and make it 10. And then what is it I need to do? I need to debug Python file. ప్రతిసారి debug ఎవరు చేస్తాడంటే debug shortcut ఏంటో చూడండి. Start debugging ఏంటి? F5. So if you don't want to click using mouses, you can use the shortcut key. So click over here. So initially I'm executing this line. Okay, so I get a memory allocated, and then this. So right now index is equals to 2. Is 2 less than max? Yes. Okay, so you need not understand the code, sir. నేను మళ్ళీ చెప్తున్నాను, మనం ఇక్కడ చేస్తుంది పైథాన్ కాదు, debugging. Okay, and you will be basically learning how to write the code. We have not started that. We are basically checking if our system debugging is working or not. If it is not working, we need to fix that issues. That's the reason. Okay, because without debugging there is no way that you are learning. So right now the index is 4, then the index becomes 5. If you try to see, the result is 8 now. So whatever substitution process which you have done for our manual steps, you need to cross check whether it works on your system or not. Are we clear on this? So what is a breakpoint, like a condition, and how to point that? ఇప్పటి వరకు నేను బెన్నర్ సినిమా చెప్పానా? Right. So how to put a breakpoint? If you try to see, just select, hover over the line numbers over here. You will see this red dot. Wherever you want to take control, just click on that. Yeah. Fine, sir. Amar, are we clear on this? I've shared the code. You're supposed to copy that code, and you just check whether it is, even if you don't understand, అది క్లిక్ చేస్తే ఆ కంట్రోల్స్ వస్తున్నాయి రావట్లేదో చూడండి, because that is essential for our learning. Am I clear on this, sir? Yes. Okay, right. And I want you to do this setup immediately after classroom, and Gopi and Lakshmikant will be available on telegrams. Kindly finish this activity today itself or now itself. Okay, the moment I stop this discussion, I want you to basically do this. Okay, right, sir. And one more thing you would see me in learning is, in Python there will be a lot of syntaxes. For example, if I have to see how addition works, subtraction works, there are many operators. What is AND, how AND works, how OR works. So ప్రతిదానికి ఇలా ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాస్తాం కొంచెం కష్టం, because writing too many programs. So for that there is an interesting stuff which is called as Jupyter notebooks. So I'll be trying to tell, I might create something like operators.ipynb. Okay, so ipynb is an extension for Jupyter notebooks. And over here what I can do is, I can try to tell that, okay, x is equals to 10, y is equals to 15. Okay, I will try to write x plus y, or even if you try to write print x plus y. Ideally in Python we should be doing print of x plus y. Okay, now if I try to run it over here, okay, then it first time it will ask, okay, do you want to install? Yes, click on install. Okay, I'll be sharing this Jupyter notebooks whenever we try to learn operators, whenever we try to do all of that stuff will be in one section, and you can view all of them in the classroom notes. Okay, right. So for example, let us assume that in Python, what are the data types that are available? Let us assume that we have 7 data types. So we will try to look into 7 data types example in one Jupyter notebook. Okay, rather than writing 7 different Python files. Okay, but programs will be writing Py files to explain the Python syntaxes. I'll be basically using the Jupyter notebook. Okay, right. So are you saying 25 convert in the? Yes. And the best part is you can debug over here also. Okay, again the same story. Yes, so I execute this. At this point I have x equals to 10, y equals to 5, and then you would be seeing something. Okay, so this is something which you might not be doing, or you can give it a try in this also. So Jupyter notebook is very much widely used by the data science people, so that they can play with data sets. Okay, and for that they did not write or take some pre-assumption based programs. You can basically use it. Okay, right. And one more thing is, when you want to do complex things in Jupyter notebooks, there are some other ways that we will try to learn at a later point of time. Did we understood this, sir? Again, have not started any Python. I'm basically speaking about your developer setup. So we will not be having a session tomorrow. Okay, Monday we don't work. on Tuesday when you are all coming, my expectation is everyone has a Visual Studio Code with Python installed, with debugger working and Jupyter notebooks created. So all you have to do is create main.py and copy the file. Okay, and whatever code which you have here, you can basically create something like samples, but remember the files extension has to be IPynb. IPynb. So any file with IPynb is considered to be a Jupyter notebook. Dantlo ide code badedi. Okay, and try to run this. And when you run this, you should get a result of yes. Does everyone understand what has to be done? Because without this setup, it will be difficult for me. When I write programs, I want everyone to debug the code. So once you get used to this debugging, you can work on anything. Debugging చేయకుండా పెన్ ఇచ్చి చూసాడు అనుకోండి, అసలు ఇందులో తప్పే ఉంది అనిపిస్తుంది. So by mistake I might have done this. Yeah, and when I count it, I should get 23, but I am getting 33. ఇలా పెన్ ఇచ్చి చూస్తే ఎప్పటికి తెలుస్తుంది ఇది? Yeah, so everyone has to debug. Am I clear? Okay, do we have any doubts for the people over the web? Yes. So if I give a problem, can we at least start attempting speaking with Flora? You might be wrong, that's okay, but at least the initial steps, are we clear? Yes. Okay, so programming is very difficult skill, right? Okay, you need to think above what you know or think below what you know. మీకు ఉన్నదానికన్నా ఎక్కువ ఆలోచించాలా, కొంచెం తగ్గి ఆలోచించాలా? తగ్గి ఆలోచించాలి. మనకు అది చేత కాక మనం పైన అనుకుంటుందని, అది పైన లేదు, మనకన్నా కింద ఉంది. Right? The basic idea of programming is you have to basically, it's like speaking with someone who has limited skills. So you have to break down your problem into something that person understands. Okay? So అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఇక్కడికి రమ్మంటారంటే ఎలా చెప్తారంటే అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఎదురయ్యే ఇదే ప్రోగ్రామింగ్. Because programming knows only one thing, you have to make it do multiple things across this. Clear on this, sir? Yes, good. Fine then. So this setup is something which I'm expecting. Yeah, try it today itself. Okay, if there are any issues, basically post it on Telegram and get it resolved. And once you have this setup, then all we will be trying to do is we'll be trying to do programs. I might give you some programs and ask you to fix problems. Okay, so then the journey becomes a little bit interesting. So this is the first step. Clear? Okay, and then the other things which I basically have said is, which I want is, if you don't have an account already, try to create an account in GitHub. Try to create an account in GitHub. So all you need to do is, you need to basically give your email address, sign up for GitHub, no credit card, nothing. Just try to create this account. Okay? Yeah. So for the initial few days, the account lakapora nashtamem ledu. So there is no need of this account, but try to create this account. This is the first thing. So what are the accounts which I need? Okay, so yeah, accounts needed. So do you want me to show how to create a GitHub account? Yes. Instagram account ఎవరు చూపించారు మీకు? అది క్రియేట్ చేసుకున్నాం. దాంట్లో మన జాతకం మొత్తం అన్ని అడుగుద్ది, నక్షత్రాలు గట్ట అవన్నీ ఫిల్ చేసాం. ఇందులో ఏమీ లేదు, ఈమెయిల్ అడ్రస్ ఇచ్చి పాస్వర్డ్ చెక్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, ఫైన్ సార్. Tomorrow you will come to the institute with a laptop, to whom I need to meet to help in installing. So do you really need help in installing? Give it a try, sir, because these are easier softwares. But tomorrow, Chandrasekhar, I don't think so people will be around. If possible, come today or come on Tuesday. Okay, right? సోమవారం పోలవరం లాగా మనకి సెలవు దినం. Yeah, right, sir. Okay, right. So what are the accounts which we need? The first account which I would require is GitHub, and the second one which I would require is HackerRank. Okay, so the reason why I would try to tell that I need a HackerRank is, for example, లెట్ మీ ఇక్కడ నా దగ్గర ఉంటుంది ఆల్రెడీ హ్యాకర్ ర్యాంక్. ఓకే, సో I'll try to log in, and when you log in, we are basically developers, so I'll try to log in into hacker rank, and then over here I can use my GitHub account or a Google account. So let me use Google account. Okay, are you saying there are many things, and I've selected Python and Linux shell over here. Okay, so I try to click on this, and over here let me basically go with this. So here it says that, okay, it will ask for a problem over here and it expects a solution. So input format, you don't need to read any input. Output is print hello world. As already rasesnatunnam మనం. Submit code అయిపోయింది, right? So then you go to the next problem. Okay, next challenge. So it tries to tell that, okay, this is the problem, so then how to solve that. So after learning a little bit of Python, I would expect some of us trying at least 30 to 40 problems in this, because for all the people who are less than 2 to 3 years of experience, you might be asked to do an online programming test, and even though the role is DevOps, they will be basically giving some of the written tests, and they will be somewhere like this. Okay, that is the first thing. For the people who are experienced, you will be handed over a pen in the interview, a pen and paper in an interview, and you will be asked to solve some problem. Okay, so quite recently, one of my friend was trying to tell that he was interviewing for some DevOps position. They have asked to split strings. Okay, and the person was unable to do it. Okay, so ilanti interview lo jarugutayi. So be prepared for this, and the only way to get used to this is trying these things. And it's okay, mahavathi emo tappoddu. Okay, we will try to find out what is the resolution. Okay, so ఇలా కాకుండా ఇంకొంతమంది తెలివైన వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తున్నారంటే ఈ మధ్య ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇది చేయమన్నాను కదా, ప్రాజెక్ట్ యూలర్ ప్రాబ్లం 1. సో టేక్ దిస్, గో టు గూగుల్. ఓకే, ప్రాజెక్ట్ యూలర్ ప్రాబ్లం 1 సొల్యూషన్ పైథాన్. ఎవరికి బొక్క ఇచ్చేస్తే మీకే. ఓకే, ఇఫ్ ఐ గివ్ అన్ ఎక్సర్సైజ్, ఇలా నెతకటం అవి తీసుకొచ్చి నా మొక్కను పడేస్తాం. మీరు నన్ను మోసం చేసుకోవట్లేదు, మిమ్మల్ని మీరే మోసం చేసుకుంటారు ఈ ప్రాసెస్ లో. రైట్, there are answers available. Okay, so I'm not sure whether I have shown you this or not, so let me try to basically show you this. Okay, fine sir. So let us see the Python code with the help of an AI tool, how it works out. Okay, right. So this function finds out if the number is prime or not. Ipen. Did I write any code? Yeah, all right. So మీరు ఆ తెలివి చూపిస్తే కంపెనీలు ఈ తెలివి చూపిస్తాయి. Right, so this function will find the largest prime factor. Okay, right. This function reads, okay, 2 numbers, okay, and finds yeah, the largest common factor, LCF, HCF. Okay, కంపెనీలకి అని తెలియక కాదు. Okay, do you know why freshers hiring has come down? Okay, because if I give a 3 years experience guy this kind of a tool, which will cost me hardly $10 or $15 a month for an organization, he can do 3 people's work. Okay, so in the future what we need is, we don't need people who write who write programs. We need people who corrects programs, who makes the code secure, because there will be a lot of generated code that comes in. Okay, so we need people with developmental skills who can go through the programs and try to understand what are the security risks in that and try to fix it, because this code which is generated is not always correct. There will be some changes that might be required. So I need people with debugging skills. Okay, so ఇది only Python కి పరిమితం అనుకుంటున్నారా? So let me try to show you this. main.tf AWS provider. Okay, fine. VPC. I think I have to create the whole folder. Okay, fine. Source AWS underscore Rala. So this is the reality of the situation. So for writing basic setups, I don't need people now. Yeah, but whatever stuff that has been generated, it might not be correct. It might have some security issues. So I need people who are better than this. Okay, not better than this in terms of how quickly you write the code. So how to make it work, how to ensure that it is secured. This is the need of R. Okay, and you can never become that without learning how to debug. Clear, sir? Okay, fine then. So let me upload this notes. Yeah. What are the files which I have? Okay, today there is only one file. Done, sir. Notes is uploaded. Okay. Yeah. Right. Good. So I have uploaded the notes, and kindly go through it and ensure that you have Visual Studio Code set up and you are able to debug the code, whatever I have basically given you. Okay. Right, sir. Thank you all.